Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So today we're going to get another fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening because last week Castlevania Revamped was updated to a 1.1 release. I played the original version. I was thinking about making a video on it, but it seems like now that it's been updated with new features and bugs fixing, the time is now. This was made by Lv4 Games and it basically takes the original Castlevania on NES, modernizes it, and turns it into a Metroidvania game. This is absolutely an awesome time. I can't recommend it highly enough, so I'm going to talk about what it is and why you should play it. Before you get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, you got a Patreon link down below as well. But obviously there is a fork in the road for Castlevania games. You have the original style games, the action platformers, and then from Symphony of the Night onwards they become basically Metroidvania games. This is taking both of those and combining them together, giving you a full inventory, a card system, a map, teleportation. Basically feels like an 8-bit version of Symphony of the Night in all the best way possible. Now this obviously is using the environments and most of the stylings from the original NES version, but they've obviously been modernized, upscaled, and we're playing in 16:9 now versus 4:3. And I love the little touch where you would expect wall meat, you actually get a life up container. You're going to be getting different items that help you progress through the environments just like you would in Symphony of the Night, but you're going to be doing it fully within the original Castlevania for NES. And you'll see here the game will tease you just like any good Metroidvania, making you wonder how they break those blocks to get through that door. You don't know yet, but the sense of exploration and progression through the castle and all of the interconnected maps just gets so good. You'll see there a heart up container as well, just out of reach. The game does an amazing job of telegraphing where things are and giving you a sense of what you need to actually obtain them, but it doesn't give it to you quite yet. It's that classic Metroidvania item hunt to try to figure out where to go and how to unlock the next area. And the developers of Castlevania Revamped have done an exceedingly good job at taking what was a level-based game and turning it into a Metroidvania. You'll see here at the save points, if you whip them, you're going to be able to teleport anywhere around the map that you've currently found a save spot, which is not only great as a Metroidvania thing, but also as a quality of life improvement. You're not going to suffer too much if you die, and you are definitely going to die a decent amount in this game, because while you're going to see the same bosses you would expect, their patterns are different, they have more life, and it is more of that Metroidvania style boss where you really need to bring a strategy in. This is the same bat as you would see on the first level in the original Castlevania, but because we only have 15 hearts right now and the axe sub weapon takes 2 apiece and doesn't do as much damage, just isn't as free of a win as it feels like within the original NES version. But once you understand the patterns and learn them, you're going to get better at this game very quickly, because every boss is going to have a pattern, and once you recognize that and use it against them, just like in a Metroidvania game, it's going to become that much easier for you. And I love that sense of learning. It's not just the progression in this game that is so good, it is the enemy patterns for the bosses and learning exactly what you need to use against them. And I love again how the art is translated into a more modern lens. You still have the same great colors, those red tapestries rotting on the wall there, but everything looks so modern for still having that 8-bit aesthetic. Now if you see here the bat, you can kind of coax him around the screen and you can find a safe area where you can hit him and he can't hit you. You just need to make sure that he comes all the way up. If he doesn't, that means he's going to start shooting fireballs off, and you want to avoid those. They can basically stun lock you completely, but that is fun in the game. The strategy of understanding exactly what to do next really does hook you in, because you'll see here I'm trying to bait him, but he didn't come up, so I know that fireball attack is next. You have to read the bosses, and it is so much more complicated than the original NES version in a good way. And for the first boss to put up so much of a challenge compared to the NES original really shows you that this game has been rebuilt from the ground up around the Metroidvania concept and around some of the Metroidvania difficulty as well. But now that we've got the first boss down, we have to figure out how to progress in this game. And you're going to see here suddenly this room is filled with all these breakable blocks, but again we have no way to actually break them. As we come into the next room, there is another heart up container. You're going to see how to access that very quickly. I'm going to give you a taste of the soundtrack. It is going to sound very familiar, and that means it's going to be a 10 out of 10 soundtrack. Listen, and I'll be right back in like 30 seconds. Absolutely classic music, and again you've seen that we've gotten our first whip power up, so now we're able to break some of the blocks in the game, which is going to give us access to new areas. But you'll see here right off that room, if we go to the right, we're going to hit what isn't a loading zone but looks exactly like a loading zone from Symphony of the Night. And we're going to come over here and realize that there is no way currently in the underground mine to get above that wall. We don't know what we need yet, but we know we need to find something else in the map and in the game, and that is what a Metroidvania does so well, showing you an area that's just out of reach and telling you you'll be here soon, but first you need to figure out how. And if we go up here, you're going to see this opening after we kill this bat. Their patterns are definitely way more erratic than they used to be, in a good way. We have absolutely no way to get underneath that wall, so we need to backtrack, because if you didn't remember from the beginning of the video, we did see areas in which we could break these blocks. So we now have to backtrack and go through the game and get to those areas just like you would in a Metroidvania. And you're not going to be able to break any of those stone blocks as of yet, because there's different whips with different powers. Each one's going to give you a little bit more in the way of actually destroying the environment around you. And of course there is that save spot. You want to save early and save often so you don't lose too much progress. But now we're back to the beginning area where we saw those breakable blocks with the heart up container, but we knew we didn't have the equipment to get there yet, and now we do. And to the left of the screen there was another set of those. The game telegraphed right off the beginning that you needed to figure out how to get past those, and once you get that whip up, it teaches you to break the blocks in that area so you know what to do and where to do it. And that is just such a great piece of game design. The one thing that is slightly difficult is whipping down. It takes a couple button presses at least on my Xbox Series X controller as I was playing this on my PC. But now we're in the underground mine, which is a massive area, and again is going to contain an item that's going to allow us to continue to progress. And that is just amazing, and I love how well the areas have translated over to a Metroidvania style. All of the different enemies that are familiar are here, all of the sub-weapons. It is so infinitely familiar at the start, but also feels completely foreign, because this is not what you would expect out of a Castlevania game. And I will give them credit as well for the title Castlevania Revamped. Not only is this obviously a revamped game, but they got a piece of the word vampire in the title as well, and that is just fun from a little bit of kitsch standpoint. But I would say visually and performance wise, this game is spectacular. The 1.0 version could definitely be a little glitchy, and it did crash on me a few times, but the 1.1 version has been rock solid stable, and that's why I decided to talk about it now, because I wanted to see how this would improve over time. But Lv4 Games has done an absolutely 10 out of 10 job making something new out of something so incredibly old. This 100% refreshes the original NES game and gives you a completely new experience, and honestly it's not like Konami is giving us much in the Castlevania franchise these days, so it is down to fans to give us the games we love and want, because Konami is not going to make another Castlevania unless they can turn it into a patchy slot machine. It is so disappointing what Konami's actually become. The 8 and 16-bit Konami is dead and gone, and I hate to say that, but it is just true. And I love these enemy patterns here as well. Kind of feel a little bit like Red Armorer from something like Ghouls and Ghosts, but it just works. And again, these environments are so big, so complex, you know something's waiting around the corner, you just need to find it. And the best part is, with the saving system, you can 100% just go ahead, play 30 minutes, move on with your day, and come right back and do something different. But now that we've gotten to the end here, we're going to go up the staircase, and we're going to unlock a lot more of the game, both in the power-up aspect as well as the card mechanic, which you haven't seen yet, which 100% can make the game easier or infinitely more challenging and harder, depending on how you feel like setting it up. But now we have the breezy slide, so we can crouch and slide underneath these single block high areas. So now we know at least that staircase I showed you earlier is accessible to us. We can go to a different area of the game, and there's more than one path in and out of most areas as well, some easier, some harder, so you definitely kind of want to check out which way works for you, because again, this can definitely present some challenge. But now we've found the card dealer, and if you whip him, you're going to get a menu in which you can purchase different cards. We've been collecting money the entire game, and we have 256 gold pieces. So the Enchanted Trader here will sell you cards. Some of them are going to vastly improve your power. Some of them, like the Curse card, are basically going to turn the game into a challenge mode. But the fun part is using the cards completely changes the experience. You can kind of make what you want out of it. And you'll see here now, again, sliding under that block, we have a completely new area of the castle accessible in 2 different ways, and you'll see now we found our second whip, so all of those blue stones are going to be breakable. And again, the one thing that I think could be cleaned up a tiny bit is the downward whip. I just have trouble with it, so if you played this and have had trouble, leave me a comment, or if it's just me, tell me as well. But now that we have the Morning Star, we can break more blocks, and now even more of the castle is accessible to us. I'm really just showing you the first part of this game because the sense of discovery and exploration is everything in a Metroidvania, and I want you guys to discover that for yourself. But trust me, for a free game, this is outstanding, and even if they charge $30, which they can't because it's a fan game, it would be well worth the money. Castlevania Revamped is an awesome new Castlevania game, and honestly, we really need more Castlevania games. I've been hungry for more Castlevania for years now, and this has definitely at least taken a little bit of that hunger away. But short of that, let me know down below if you played it, what you think, or if you're going to play it after watching this video. But trust me, the only wrong way to play this game is not play it at all. I'll see you guys next time though. Happy hunting. Bye bye.